All right, welcome everybody. My name's Murray Godfrey. I'm the instructor of History 203 for you this term. I want to thank everybody for deciding to take this class. So, just to tell you a little bit how things are going to go, as you know, we are facing crazy times that a lot of us weren't prepared for. So, this class is going to run a little differently. For those of you that are on the face-to-face version, we're going to run this like an online class until we can go back to class if we can. For those of you on the online version, there's going to be a little change to the schedule. If you've ever taken one of my online classes before, you'll notice a little bit of change in the way the scheduling works. But it should actually be a little easier for you than how I previously handled the scheduling. So the way I'm just going to try to organize this is as if we were in a class environment. I would give a presentation. There'd be an assignment related to that day's activities that would be due the following week or whatever. And then the next class of the week we'd do a presentation or a discussion or something like that. So I'm going to try to organize it along those lines. So this is the intro presentation. This is what you would usually get on the first day of class. And then a couple days after this, I'm going to post the Unit 1, and then there'll be an assignment related to Unit 1. So this is the intro unit, then Unit 1's coming a couple days after this, and that's how we'll proceed week by week. And so I'm kind of trying to think about this in such a way as how would I present this in class, and this is going to give you somewhat of a approximation of the classroom experience, I hope. And yes, let's get started. So one of the big questions a lot of my students have is, how hard is the class and how much work is it going to be? And that's what a lot of information people look for when they're going to sign up for a class and understand that. So to give you a sense of how hard the class is, I've designed it to be pretty much equivalent to a history class at a normal university. So if you transferred to OSU, U of O, wherever, PSU, it would be similar to what you get there. At least that's my intention. So what that means is it's not the hardest class, but it's not the easiest class either. History is kind of a labor-intensive subject in terms of its difficulty. It's not difficult, at least not at this level, the 100, 200 level. It's not difficult in the sense that you need a lot of prerequisite knowledge to get started. It is difficult in the sense that you've got to do the work. So what that means is, especially in the online environment, you need to just keep up with everything. Make sure you're checking into the class every couple days. I'd say, the class is designed to be presented 2 times a week. You want to check in at least 2 times a week, and I'd recommend 3 or 4. And just to make sure you're not falling behind on anything. And I'll try to keep the calendar updated and regular announcements of what's due when. That way you don't fall behind. So not the hardest class, but not the easiest either, in that you can't just blow it off and expect to be able to pass if you don't pay attention to what's going on. So not a pushover subject. It's a labor-intensive subject, and even though it starts more accessibly, it progressively gets harder the deeper you move into any particular version of history. So as one of my professors told me, it's kind of like the old games. It's history is easy to learn, it's difficult to master, and so it's something that you shouldn't just think, oh, I can just check in and do the bare minimum and I'll do fine. That won't work. I mean, you get kind of the grade that you put into the class, you'll get that grade out of the class in terms of how much you're working. But if you feel like you want to pull your hair out, or you feel like you want to cry, do not be afraid to talk to me about whatever's going on. If you have a concern or a question or whatever, reach out by email, probably the best way. If I don't respond to the email within 48 hours, 48 business hours, email me again. I'm the department chair now, and I get 50 million emails a day. Like, not that many, but I get a good couple dozen to 4 or 5 dozen a day, and it's crazy. And so if you send me an email and maybe I missed it, send me another one again, 48 hours, uh, just to remind me that you had this question, because sometimes I miss emails. But don't be afraid to communicate to me if you feel like you're having difficulty. That's going to be the easiest way to resolve anything. I'm not going to judge you for any kind of question or comment. I'm not going to be prejudiced against you for some kind of reason. Uh, just you can reach out to me with whatever your concern is. Do not be afraid of that. Another piece of advice I have is to avoid procrastinating on the book review. The big project in the class is the book review project, due at the end of the term. It seems like a long way away right now, but if you don't get started soon, you will start to fall behind. And that will affect you, and you'll be stressed out toward the end of the term trying to finish the whole project of reading a book and then writing a paper on it. If you start earlier in the term, it's easy for you. You've got a lot of time to complete the project. You start late in the term, then you're compressing your available study and work time, and anything else that comes up, like your kid gets sick, or your car needs to be taken into the shop, or whatever inconvenience happens. If you've only given yourself a week because you've waited the whole term to do this book review project, then it's going to get stressful if you have to take out a day or two out of that week in order to do whatever you need to deal with. So, and then get back to the project. So my recommendation is start early, although not always too early, because I do have some students say they started reading in week 1 or 2, finished the book week 3 or 4, then they forgot what they read 4 weeks later, came back at week 8 or 9 and had to reread parts of the book, and that's just just working harder and not smarter. So you know your own reading speed. Choose the time that you think you need, and do a little bit each day or every couple days, and get the project done over a period of a few weeks. That'll make it easier. If you wait, that's going to drag everything out. Now you're going to see some splicing here from my other intro lecture that covers a lot of the same material.